Yes, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the channel. Hope everybody has had a fabulous Sunday and has enjoyed sumptuous roast dinners, as is the classic tradition. And if you ain't having a roast or something that's roasted on a Sunday, then what the heck is wrong with you? Big ups to everybody tuning in. Carl Rossi, very early in today's stream. Good to see you, mate. How we doing? Signature pint of chocolate milk, or as Tony Ibarra calls it, pint of Nesquik. Pint of that Nesquik stuff. But we are back to chill out for another good hour or so, just as a little bit of an unwinder. We can talk about whatever we want to talk about. What better way to spend the last hours of the weekend before we kickstart yet another week in our daily lives? So I'm going to talk as the as expected with the title "GLAZER spin continues." Hmm. Hmm. Okie dokies. GLAZER spin continues because, as it seems to be the common theme in Manchester United's world, Man United lose a game, everybody starts talking, everybody, sharpen the knives, you get them plates spinning, whatever it is. People sharpen the knives, they go after people they don't like, and all the media sources start talking about the topics that the fans really love to hear. They love to listen to it and say, "Oh, yes, yes, I've completely forgotten about all the bad stuff that's happened because you've told me everything I want to hear." And you know what? The Glazer stories is just another one of those, and it's Neil Custis once again that is talking. It is Neil Custis. He has come back to the forefront. He is out in the open with a very audacious story. I think he threw his hat in the ring and he was hoping that there would be quite a few takers on this story. But I sort of snuffed it out from the start because I'm thinking, Neil Custis, you shouldn't have the inside scoop compared to 99% of news outlets out there. You shouldn't have the scoop. You shouldn't. It just shouldn't happen. Wolfgang Division, good to see you, mate. Hope you're doing well. And Geordie, you too. What's up? What is up? Currently, the ceiling. That's what's up. You can see it. See a bit of the ceiling back there. That is what is currently up. But you're talking about Neil Custis and his expertise of plate spinning. As we know, with Neil Custis, he put out initially a story about the takeover being completed in October time. He put out a story. Now, this was about a month or about a month, maybe a month and a half thereabouts ago, sort of in the midst of the start of the season, a couple games played. And he came out with a very audacious story talking about the process being completed in October time and that we could get an announcement as early as September. And straight away, everyone was like, "You are pulling our legs. You are pulling our legs." Yeah, Carl and Geordie, big ups to them. And did you get your chocolate milk? Yeah, damn right I did. This 100. It's not quite a 100% attendance record, but it's goddamn up there. It is goddamn up there. But Neil Custis says that we could get an announcement as early as September, but he said that it should be about mid-October time that Sheikh Jassim, and specifically named dropped Sheikh Jassim to win the takeover bid, or that the takeover process would be completed, and then I don't know if he's imagining that the actual takeover process entirely, or if he was talking about the takeover process when the official transfer of the club begins from that point of where it wraps up negotiations. Maybe that's what he was trying to refer to. But after, not I think the day after, the morning after, the night before, you might as well put it as, we get this story saying the takeover, Sheikh Jassim's takeover of Manchester United could be complete in roughly 2 weeks, we reckon. It would be completed in 2 weeks. So Neil Custis is sticking to his guns and he's keeping his story consistent to his time frame. I've heard other sources start talking about conversations or meetings between the Rain Group and the Qatari representatives, and it's like we're going back to this reactionary reporting. But the worst thing is the amount of people that will probably bite onto this and say, "I hope this is true. I wish it would be true," but with the amount of times that we've been into flying the Qatari flags to then burning American flags the following week, we've been through this very seesaw-like ride for roughly about 10 months now, probably 11 months, coming on 11 months now. And we're not far away from hitting a 1 full year of the club being on the markets. Now, the process of taking over a club, I've got no doubt, takes a long time. No doubt. Takes a long, long, long time to do. So sometimes these things you kind of got to be patient with it. I think just because it's Man United, the talk is much more public. The talk is much wider scale than, say, the takeover process for Newcastle United, because people assumed that was very quick. It was very swift. It happened overnight, something like that. But apparently that took roughly about a year from start to finish as well, or took close to a year from start to finish. So maybe we're just seeing that slow case of process. We've had all sorts of stories talking about the Glazers want more money. All thanks here says, I heard that, stalling for more money. Well, that's what there's been alternative talks, or the media's or reports that basically go the opposite direction, with the talk about the Qataris taking over or Sir Jim Ratcliffe taking over. Sir Jim Ratcliffe has been given plenty of time to table or to reconstruct his bid, basically, because of the legal problems that his latest bid posed with public shareholders or stakeholders, the minorities, right? The minority stakeholders of the club. Legal problems there, so he's basically gone back to the drawing board and is somewhat in the process of restructuring his bid. I think that's what was one of the latest reports. And it seemed as though that was the case, because we also have Bloomberg saying that his bid of the latest rendition was dead in the water. So perhaps that's basically what we could be waiting for here. I think that's probably where we are about, is when Ratcliffe actually puts in a non-problematic bid, that we might see a decision happen then. I don't really see perhaps how the idea of waiting for 8 to 10 billion story is going to come to fruition, because the finance sheets kind of tell you that's not possible, Chief. That ain't possible. That ain't going to happen. Like trying to grow the value of the club over the next. Is when they said, "Oh no, they will take it off the market now, but sell it in 2025 when they can ask for 10 billion." You need to grow the value of the club to do that, but you've not done so, and you've been projected to now consistently lose valuation because of your lack of investment. So, no, they're hoping, they're clutching at straws with that story. I just sort of sit in the camp where it's like, well, no one's really heard anything. No one's discussed anything. Now, if there's anything to be believed about the talk of Rain Group holding extended meetings with Qatari officials, that one of two things has happened. That perhaps the Qataris are saying to Rain Group, look, we're going to give you a deadline for you to get the Glazers' communication with us about what's going on with the process, because we've been at a standoff for a very, very long time. Or there is the slightest bit of truth to the Neil Custis story, which I believe there is absolutely none, just to put that out there, that the takeover process has actually gone under the radar, but has continued to progress in the favour of the Qataris. Now, that would be a dream scenario. I think that would be a lot of dream scenarios for a lot of the Glazer out brigades. They'll be absolutely partying if there's any truth that actually comes to the surface with that. But I don't believe that there is going to be that case. Unfortunately, we're going to be probably here for quite a fair while longer. Big up the milk. Big ups the milk. Alpro Soya, give me that sponsorship deal, baby. I'll wear a chocolate milk carton outfit for a 24-hour stream or something if you do me that sweet stuff. Hi Fuzz, says Rajat. Hello Rajat. Good to see you, mate. Hope we're doing well. Can't wait to play Liverpool. I'll tell you what, 9-man Liverpool would probably beat our Man United team with 11 players. Big ups to Yeti as well. Longhead Yeti's Cave. Big up my dude. Big up to you too. Big ups to everybody. Now time to like Real Madrid. If ever comes a time where United fans have to start supporting other clubs or just stop watching football because the club becomes at such a bad situation that it's unsustainable and the club's about to shut its doors. It's like those sort of unimaginable scenarios that people just can't picture, you can't see it. It's like the idea of if Old Trafford, with its lack of investment, becomes an unfit and unsafe place to hold sporting events, that they would tell us, that councils would tell us, sorry, you can't play here because it's not safe for the spectators and also the sporting athletes. So, yeah, we'd have to probably go borrow the Etihad. That's one of those other things. I hope and pray it never, ever happens. Big up, Bro Wolf. Big ups, big ups, big ups. Everyone wants to be like Madrid. They are, technically speaking, the standard bearers of football at the highest level. They've gone and renovated the Santiago Bernabeu. That's pretty much, I think, 99% completed now. Got a retractable roof on it now, which is kind of nice, because for anybody that I think believes the thing that it rains more in Madrid than it does in Manchester, I mean, who am I to doubt that? I mean, it's probably true nowadays. It is probably true, but renovate a stadium, put in some investment, and stay at the highest level of football whilst doing it. Win Champions Leagues whilst doing it. Except Forest. Well, Forest have got their European Cups. That's all they need. Give them some European Cups, 2 stars above their tree, and it's happy plain sailing. Won't get more than 7 billion, says Raja. I completely agree. No one's been silly enough to go bid anywhere near 6 billion for a 6 billion asking price, but apparently some media reports back in time talk about, well, take it off the market and sell it for 10 billion in 2025. Well, that's not going to happen, is it? We all know that's not true. And the worst part about it is all the people were starting to really feel like the top media guys were starting to really feel like, oh, this takeover process isn't going to happen, is it? They start to actually buy into the fact that the Glazers might do something like that, but they would have been told by every financial expert under the sun that that's not possible. Even in a best case scenario, you'll probably only get it to roughly warranting a 6 billion bid, because you're trying to do it without spending a penny. How is that going to work? Unless someone takes shrooms, magic shrooms, and decides, you know what, I'm going to be silly. I was going to put a £1 billion offer in, but I'm going to accidentally use my fat fingers to put an extra zero on it. And then you put in a 10 billion offer. Maybe that's what the Glazers are hoping for, that someone's taking shrooms and mistypes the value of what their bids is going to be. We'll have to see. Maybe someone does take shrooms. Maybe Sir Jim Ratcliffe takes shrooms. We just don't know about it yet. Maybe that happens. Player power needs to stop. It does. It does. And that's what I've said about the ownership situation. That the ownership changes or the board changes, Player Power FC is dead in the water. Literally, everybody stops talking to the media. No more leaks. No one says anything, because that board, that ownership, will kick your teeth in. And they will kick you in the teeth financially too. So, yeah, players, once you get your new ownership, your new big bosses upstairs, I would stop talking to people outside of the game. I would. I really would. And I would keep an eye on, keep checking over your shoulder, because you might get the plug pulled on your career as well. Cha-ching, cha-ching. That's literally all it is to the Glazers. All about the money. Soon as vampires are gone, rebuild the club. 100%. 100%. Old Trafford needs to be sorted. It does. And there was another video that came out today, that was uploaded today on the Twitter sphere, of people recording. They were sat in the Stretford end, close to where you sort of get to where the Sir Alex Ferguson stand is, and the roof where it's leaking is coated all of these guys with tons and tons of water. Literally, they're just sat in the stands, just like, look at this. Just there's water everywhere. And it's like, what's the point in having a roof then? It's like, it's like, this is the thing. And the infrastructure, if you've got leaks going on in the roofs, those leaks will only get worse if they're not addressed. But it costs money to go fix those leaks. And the Glazers don't want to spend even that much money to fix a simple leak. They barely set aside the money to give Old Trafford a new coat of paint. Word has it, they ran out of paint. How do you figure that one out? But seriously, figure out how they are such penny pinchers that they can't even be bothered to buy enough paint to actually do a full job. Mad health and safety, it is. And that's why I'm concerned about, if this investment or lack of investment continues to go on and on and on and on, that Old Trafford becomes an unfit and unsafe for purpose venue, and the council get involved and they start saying, well, look, you can't use this, can't use the stadium, you're not allowed to, it's not safe enough, you have to go find another venue to play your game. And you can imagine them sorry asses will be picking up the phone to Manchester City and saying, look, we might need to borrow your stadium here. What would be hilarious is if Man City owners actually turn around to our board and just be like, nah, fuck off. Nah, get gone. And paying a lawsuit is better. I'll tell you what, could sue if that ever happens, right? Then this would be interesting. If that ever happens at a United game, right, that a part of the stadium comes loose and hits a fan and causes injury, that all 75,000+ people in that stadium all sue the club at the exact same amount of money that the person that was injured sues the club for. 75,000 lawsuits to say that could have been me, so I'm suing you for endangering me. Imagine that, just 75,000 lawsuits at the same time for all the same amount of money. That would be mental. Mate, Richard Arnold would literally he'd be carried out on a stake and then burned in the centre of Manchester or London. He'd probably get dragged out of the London offices, knowing that we like to do our business in London for some reason. We're a Manchester club, you know. Rusty Sums United now. It is. It is. Tons of rust. Rusty everywhere. Mad. It is. It is absolutely mad. And just having a read through here. But yeah, speaking of medias, the constant talk that's going on, you know, a lot of it's when people start talking, right? The stories fly everywhere. Whatever it's talking about, there's just mad amounts of stories. Once people start talking, they do not stop. They don't stop. And we're hearing the stories as well. That ties into when we lose games, the stories that also come around to the forefront usually are leaks or stories from what goes on inside the dressing room, or those close to ex-player, those close to manager, those close to lady who serves the dinners or the lunches at the canteen, you know. Maybe it's not a lady, maybe it's a guy, I don't know. But you start to see all of these leaks come into the press, and one of these from Disco Mirror, he's done 2 separate reports, by the way, about Marcus Rashford, but also from Eric Ten Hag, and that's kind of where I'm sort of going with this. That sources close to MUFC dressing room admit there are concerns with Marcus Rashford's body language during games and him cutting an increasingly despondent figure. So someone is saying to the press, I don't like what Rashford's doing. I think he's a lazy bastard. And to be fair, the fans would probably agree with this. And the fact that this story is out in the media, I think, is just more of a case to generating a disturbance, an uproar, right? Or obviously for also, you know, square one for media reporting is to get clicks. But the fact that we get way more stories about what goes on in our dressing room as compared to any other club in the world, right? All of these leaks, all of this, it's like how it's that this is what this I suppose this is what ties into the conversation of player power, is that there's so much player power at Manchester United. People just go, well, you know what, fuck what everyone else thinks. I'm going to go talk to the press. I'm going to go give them a story to write about and stick it out into mainstream. Sick, cool. So if you don't like someone in the dressing room, you can go anonymously hand a story, right, and just say, oh, it's just someone in the club. Or someone close, sources close, and literally get them to put that out there, because then that could be the mutuals to anybody that has a contract at Manchester United. That could be just mutuals. And yeah, basically just stick that, you send that into a you know, press company and tell them, oh look, there's your story. Go stick that out there, and then you'll see stories like this one with Marcus Rashford saying he's that people are growing frustrated with him. Don't get me wrong, people are. You don't need to send us you know, leaked stories in the media for us to know this. We know that Marcus Rashford is an issue. He is an issue. He's not the problem, as per what the I think it was the title on one of the United Stand videos on Twitter, when Mark Aldridge is talking about Marcus Rashford. He literally says that Marcus Rashford's an issue, but he's not the problem, and he isn't. He isn't. So this is something that is got to be addressed as well by the fan base here. That when things go wrong nowadays, we aren't as simple as 1 + 1 = 2. We aren't as simple as just black and white here. When there's problems at this club, if you look at any other club, when they've got a problem, you see that problem get addressed. You see that problem get confronted. You see that problem get dealt with. And usually you only scratch just beneath the surface to see that problem. You could probably see it just by looking at it. Manchester United, every problem you see, you have to dig. Get the shovels out, right? Get the dynamite sticks, get everything you need, right? You are digging a quarry. You are digging a quarry to see just where all of these problems are stemming from. Because if you dig far enough, you'll end up back right at the core of all of these problems. And it comes in the form of Avram Glazer's fuck ugly face and the rest of his shithead family. Basically, that's where the core of the problems are. But the problem is that us as United fans, we won't want to dig beneath the surface. We will just look at it. We'll see a problem on face value and we go, so that's how we fix it. We'll grab something off from the sides, just like a little, it's like you might be ridden with tumours, right? Cancerous tumours. But United fans would know, oh, we've got tumours, all of that. Let's go and get a bottle of painkillers. Let's get some paracetamol. Let's just, a little bit of paracetamol and be all okay. A little quick fix and we'll be back to potentially talking about winning titles, which ties into conversations about selling one player and buying another. Selling a guy that's a problem, buying another. Right? Buy someone else to take their place. Now, it could make things better for the short term, right? It could make things better for the short term, but long term, the same problems, if the common denominator does not get changed, yeah, the problems are on repeat. The problems are on repeat, as we like to call it, a vicious cycle. You don't break that cycle, and it's like Ralph Rangnick says, cosmetic surgery is not what we need. We need the open heart surgery. No little, fine tune a few things here and there. No, oh, let's sack the managers, get someone else in who knows ball, because that knowing ball manager, according to those players in leaked press releases again, in about 1 to 2, maybe 3 years' time, is that this manager doesn't know ball. He's clueless. He doesn't know his squad well. We'll get the same media releases, right? And this is the thing. We've had 3 different types of managers, maybe arguably 4, if you want to count Rangnick. 4 different types of managers in a row. So we had Mourinho, winning mentality defensive manager. We saw the problems that the guy was past it or not good enough. The manager wasn't good enough. We go to Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, puts smiles on faces, gets people, feeling happy. We're positive. Yeah, we're all best mates here, right? So Positive Vibes FC didn't work. Same problems. Manager not good enough. Ralph Rangnick comes in. Very technical mind, has got the much bigger picture and thinks, how do I strategically solve all of these problems in the interim period? He digs up, hits all the nerves, everyone's super unhappy. God damn it, we hate this guy. Get him out. Get him out of my pub, said Peggy Mitchell. And, in this case, Peggy Murta. Peggy Murta saying, get out of my club. But the fan base were like, no, crap manager, man, crap manager. Don't want him anywhere near this club. You gave John what he wanted. You gave Richard what he wanted. We'll back John Murta and Richard Arnold, but we will sell out against this manager. Screw the manager once again. We know that there are problems that go beyond the manager, but it's always the manager's fault. So the guy with the plan, who, by the way, also recommended to John Murta, don't sign Pochettino, sign Ten Hag. So Ten Hag comes in on the basis of a recommendation. A lot of people say, well, Ten Hag didn't want Ralph Rangnick to work with him. He didn't want to work with Ralph Rangnick, so that's why he left. Bullshit. I say bullshit to that. I don't believe that's the case at all. I believe that Ralph Rangnick was a threat to John Murta. And John Murta, I think, is a little bit of a wet wipe and has probably done the gossip, the behind your back gossip to Ten Hag and said, this guy that's recommended you, I think he's going to be a bit of a problem to our process. If we go through this process, I think he's going to be a bit of a problem. So when Ten Hag comments on it, he says, "Oh, we just felt like it would be better if I just had the control or this that." So Ten Hag straight away is already peddling what Murta wants him to say straight away. So the whole thing that Ten Hag didn't want Ralph Rangnick is because John Murta was a salty bitch, and that he probably would have been absolutely embarrassed by Ralph Rangnick in how they conduct themselves doing their jobs. Because let's be real, Ralph Rangnick, if he's got the reins, he would have ripped up trees. He would have ripped up trees. And I can tell you one thing, here's something else you probably would not have heard much discussion about. FFP, we're limited by FFP. We can't sign these players, or we have to sell to buy. Those stories wouldn't have existed. They wouldn't have existed. And the reason being is because the grand master plan of Richard Arnold saying we won't get fleeced by clubs on transfer fees again. We won't get fleeced by them. So what happens is you tell the world we will not overpay for a player again. You go out first summer transfer window with this new policy. Well, actually, it was before the January window happened. The new policy was in effect in the January window. So what did they say? We don't have the money. We don't have the money. So they lower the expectations, so the demand isn't that we got lots of money, guys. Why haven't you spent it? It's, oh, but we don't have money. So they won't be mad if we don't spend the money we need to spend. So, with that being said, summer comes along. We sign 3 players, right? 3 players. Kind of not priority signings because, let's be real, the higher ups and how they've managed the squad and contract situations has always been a disgrace. And this situation with the David De Gea and all of that stuff was no different. It's the same people who are messing up contracts. And to be fair, they might have messed up the contracts this time around as well with our new signings, such as Mason Mount earning somewhere like 200,000 a week with incentives to take him up to 350k a week. I think it was something like that, or they might have offered him way more. But this whole narrative that they've pushed with this new policy, oh, this is how we're going to do transfer business, this is how we're going to do this, how we do that. They talk about sell to buy and FFP because it's the only way that they can sell their policy's failure. It's the only way that they can cover their asses with it. The only way. Because FFP, oh, it's tied other clubs down. Oh, sell to buy, that's what other clubs do. But you see, when you do sell to buy clubs, right, they actually go and sell their players. And then they go buy the good players. They actually go and do the sell to buy. We didn't do any sell to buys. We haven't done one single sell to buy this summer. Just gone. Not one. But that was the peddled story. Not one single action of sell to buy occurred. So we spent, right, Now, maybe Anthony Alangasell somewhere in the midst there, about 15 million thereabouts, right? Okay, fair enough. Let's take that 15 million out of the way. We spent about 180 million pounds without reply, without selling anybody else of worthy note. And we overpaid in all three of those deals. We did overpay. Mason Mount overpaid. Andre Onana overpaid. Rasmus Højlund overpaid. So the policy's not looking too good, guys. But for some reason, the people that buy in the stories were peddling this and saying, look at how well we've saved on these deals. But if you did the same spend last summer, people would be going angry at you. Why are you spending this much money on these players? Seriously, if you go last summer, you spend £65 million on Mount overall, right? Package deal. Everyone would be asking the board, why are you spending that much money on Mason Mount? Why would you do that? What? But because the stories are all about saving money, and they put this take it or leave it offer on the table to Chelsea, will you take that or we walk away? United didn't even get up to leave from the table. They just sat there because, yeah, we'll just sell the story as being that. Chelsea obviously needed to sell him. They needed to sell Mount. So they're just like, well, I guess we can. I guess we can do that deal. That's fine. That's all good, right? Yeah, it's all fine. No worries, no worries. Tell the public, right, that we have saved a lot of money on this deal. And what do a lot of the people do? They lap it all up. They say, yes, we have saved money on Mason Mount. We could have signed him for £75 million. We could have spent £85 million on Mason Mount. If it was Ed Woodward, we would have spent £100 million on Mason Mount. A competent club probably would have either not signed Mason Mount full stop and actually signed someone that the club needed for a reasonable price or a good price, or they would have negotiated with Chelsea for a cheaper deal because they got no bullshit to give. But no, we're saving money, guys. We're saving money. That's what we've got to believe. We're saving money. We are getting great value on these players that we're overpaying for. The next thing that absolutely exposes. I'll get into that in just a sec, actually. The next bit that exposes this Richard Arnold policy on transfer approach and John Murtaugh's transfer approach. I'll get into in just a second. Amirali Ghaznavi, commiserations, man, actually. Big ups to you, but commiserations for yesterday night. That was some mad, absolute disgraceful officiating. Absolute disgraceful officiating. Like the offside goal decision was unbelievable. Miscommunication or not, and the fact that Big Ange Postecoglou, Big Ange, loving Big Ange instead, comes out and says, well, it's an error, it's part of the game. You little bitch, you are saying that because it favoured you. It saved your ass. It saved you. You wouldn't have said that if it didn't favour you. If it was against you, you would be up in arms. Man would probably be serving or being served a touchline ban. I'm surprised Jurgen Klopp hasn't received a touchline ban yet from how ridiculous that is, because a miscommunication between VAR and the people on the pitch. Guess what? Back in the old days before VAR, there wasn't this need to talk to somebody else at the other end of the country. There wasn't that need. It was just the man that was on the pitch with the whistle. The man on the touchlines with the flags. That's all it was down to. But now we've introduced the bloke that sits somewhere else and watches replays of angles not seen by the referees and watches life in slow motion has absolutely warped the entire perception of football from top to bottom in every way possible. VAR has not only ruined football, or is in the process of ruining football, it has ruined the integrity of the officiating teams in this country. It has ruined the integrity of officiating in this game, because now we sit here and say, well, if we get a VAR decision, what's to say that we're safe from them buggering up the decision? Not by way of, oh, he's got a decision wrong from his point of view. No, miscommunications. So the VAR guy's like, it's a goal, ref. It's a goal. It's a goal, ref. The referee's like, well, our on-field decision was offside. But VAR man's thinking, the referee gave a goal. But we're looking for the offside. But VAR says, no, that's good. It's all good. We're happy with your on-field decision. The check is complete. The referee goes, oh, okay. So my offside decision, which was clearly wrong, the check is complete, you say. Okay, cool. The offside now stands. VAR man goes, what the fuck? No, referee, it's a goal. It's a goal. Use that language. Why the fuck are you talking about check complete? Why? Why are you saying check complete to a ref? Say it's a goal. The player is onside. Use very basic English that every motherfucker from the age of 4 can understand. How's that? Try that one on for size. It doesn't make sense. It literally just doesn't make an ounce of sense. Random sec, but I thought I should bring this up. Liverpool have been robbed by VAR yesterday. I can't believe it. I'm speechless. The refereeing and officiating is horrible. It is absolutely ridiculous. Also, Glazers and FSG and Levy are horrible idiots. They are bad owners. Well, Levy's the guy that's just basically like the CEO of the club. But unfortunately for Tottenham, the ownership situation's kind of gone, a long way beyond sort of, them having any direct influence on what happens with their club. They've sort of got to go full, and they've got to basically go and fell an entire empire if they want to get ENIC to let go of Tottenham Hotspur now. I might have that wrong, don't know. That Luis Diaz goal was offside, was miles onside. The fact they didn't even draw the lines, oh my god, they're horrible. The fact they didn't draw the lines was to do with the fact that the guy in the VAR room was happy that the decision was onside. It was because of a miscommunication. A lot of people say the fact that they didn't draw the lines. Now, I'm going based off of what the communication was. Right? I'm going based off of what the people that were reflecting the decisions from the refereeing perspectives, from the officiating perspectives, that it was based off a miscommunication, because the referee and the guy in VAR had different understandings on the Diaz goal. But the miscommunication was because the VAR guy says a term that the referee assumes go with your on-field decision, but they didn't understand each other. Like, that's mental. That you can't have miscommunication like that in competitive sport. Like, getting a decision wrong is getting a decision wrong. Miscommunicating a decision, now that's seriously problematic, because that can happen for any team now. Because that's taking the human error out of the judgment. Like, the human error in judgment gets taken out. You're talking about people who don't care enough to be cautious in proceeding in officiating their game. And it's like a lack of care. A referee just officiated your game, Aberali, and he didn't care.
the guy in VAR didn't care enough to make sure that everyone's on the same page. They've got all of these pet shop names for each other. They've got all of these pet, teacher's pet kind of names, right? All the squishy names for each other. But you know what? All of that just to be saying check complete and ultimately cocking everything up. How about this? Was it Darren England who was in VAR at the time? If it was, why didn't he say to the referee or stop him and say, referee, you've got that wrong? Stop and award the goal. It was a goal. And the thing is if I think people have said that they take it that it's down to they want to watch out for their mate, they want to look out for their mate. I'd say, but if you're willing to look out for your mate and potentially embarrass him, if you're worried about that, then sorry, but being a referee isn't the job for you. He should be sacked and banned from that line of work. Full stop. Banned from the English FA. If you want to be a VAR guy ever again, go fuck off to another country. Simple as. Because you ain't getting another job in this FA. That's for certain. And that's where we're sitting right now. That's where we're sat right now. Seriously, it's the integrity of the game is being destroyed by a system that was brought in with the promise of perfecting the game or helping the officials out. The officials have done the complete polar opposites to it. And that Curtis Jones red card should have been a yellow. Yeah, it should. It should. It's like the same thing with Casemiro. I mean, Casemiro's tackle, right? The referee gave a yellow for it. But the VAR official, right, I believe it was bloody Andre Mariner, decided, referee, can you go look at this? Can you go look at it in slow motion? Can we just ignore the fact that there's physics at play here, right? Laws of physics at play when you go for the ball, that you make contact with the ball first and then you ride over the ball and hit the player. Can we just fail to acknowledge that and just look at the fact that someone's put his studs on his ankles? Give him red cards, Anthony Taylor. Okay. Same shit here then, right? Same shit here. The same story. It's like I said this on a stream earlier today. I believe it's on Longhaired Yeti's stream when he was doing the watch along for the Nottingham Forest game against Brentford. And I said, what was it? I said, if we were, as fans, right, going to sit here and watch a 90-minute match in the Premier League, but watch everything in slow motion, right? And watch it from all different camera angles with every tackle, every incident on the pitch, we could pick out 10, 11, 12, maybe as many as 20 red card offences on the pitch. Notice that when everything gets slowed right down, everything looks way worse. Everything looks way worse when it's slowed down. And that's why referees give red cards for shit they shouldn't be. I'm a transfer journalist, and it's not my place to judge referees, but in any case, the offside situation is unbelievable. In my opinion, it's unacceptable to see these kinds of situations in 2023 from Fabrizio Romano. Well, I mean, he's a journalist speaking about football matters. And this is not something that should be swept under the carpet. It should not be swept under the rug. It's like, okay, from a United fan's perspective, let's talk about controversial. The Bruno Fernandes goal last season in the Manchester derby, right? Every which way you look at it, it's technically speaking, it's regarded as, what was it, offside? or an interference in play from a player that was offside, but he sort of cradles the ball without touching it. But he's providing a block, a defensive block to a player to actually go and make the challenge or take the ball. But he's an offside player. He's not active in the game because he was offside. But he sets it up and protects it and shields it for Bruno Fernandes to take the shot. Now, a lot of people say that that's got to be given as an offside or an interference in play. There's got to be something along those lines, and I would agree with them. The Manchester City goal, I think, was it this season, where there was a player standing like right in front of the ball trajectory that should have been given as offside. They said, no, it's not offside. The player doesn't interfere with it. Even though he is literally man marking a goal. It was almost man marking a goalkeeper, for crying out loud. They literally said, well, we're sorry that we got that decision wrong. We saw it against Crystal Palace as well. You know, that a goal was given or was not given, sorry, because Rasmus Højlund was standing in the way of the ref, the goalkeeper, sorry. I mean, it's mental to think about. It's absolutely mental. I just can't let it go, man. It hurts. Something's got to change. It does, and I hope that there is some form of unification. And you know what? I hope next week, right, or the next Tottenham game in the Premier League that Tottenham have, that they get so unbelievably screwed by officiating that they end up saying, right, yeah, no, we see what you're talking about now. We see what you're talking about, because those guys are absolutely high on life. They've beaten 9-man Liverpool. You've beaten 9-man Liverpool via an own goal, but it shouldn't really have gotten to a 9-man Liverpool team in the first place. And one of Liverpool's goals was completely ruled out, completely blatant disregard for what the standards you're meant to set for this game at the highest level as an officiating team. You've completely disregarded the integrity of the sport. So now you've got to basically say, well, to get our message across, we've got to now see that same team that rode their luck, get them screwed over so that they are up in arms. But instead of saying, ha ha, we go, now do you understand why we're angry? Now do you understand why we're pissed off? Now do you understand it? And a unified front with fans all as a collective saying, get VAR out, can push for change in sport. That VAR is ruining the sport. It's ruining the Premier League. I don't know how fans of other clubs in Europe who have VAR feel about it. I'm pretty sure that most other the top leagues in Europe have VAR as well, but I don't know if they've got similar problems. I'm sure they might have one or two issues. It's like the offside technology. The Premier League uses drawn lines. The World Cup used flawless technology. Like, it used flawless technology. Like, you can see the parts of the body that are offside by using a transparent wall on the screen. So if someone's knee is slightly offside, you place a wall from the exact point of the defender, right? And you can see maybe 1% of that player's knee is past the defender. So his knee that he can score from, that 1% of his knee that's offside, classifies his goal or the play as offside. It's flawless. But instead we go with lines. We draw lines, people. Why aren't we striving for the best technology to make it so that even idiots can use it without problems? The FA don't want to take accountability for it. They don't want to take accountability. And you know what? It's like, it kind of sucks that we have to sit here and rather than it being the case that we are talking about VAR screwed our rivals, let's laugh at them. This is the thing, and I think this might be having to smash our heads on brick walls repetitively until it really starts to sink in. For me, it's going to be the case of a crappy decision happens, and it's okay if it's not impacting you. But if it does impact you, you are screaming bloody murder. Train yourself not to react like that. Train yourself to have an unbiased viewpoint on any officiating decision and think, what do I honestly think about what I've seen? It's like every time there's a decision, take your pro club shades off, right? And see it for what it actually is and bring it back down to earth and say, that decision is unacceptable. We need to call this out. The United fans are now calling it out. Liverpool fans calling it out. I'm sure Man City fans might be calling it out. I don't know. There's not many Man City fans in existence. Chelsea fans, I haven't really seen them have a decision that they're absolutely livid with against them just yet. Tottenham fans, I don't know. Arsenal fans, they think the world is against them anyway. It's like these decisions, they're going to happen a lot more. It's probably even the smaller clubs that are being robbed a lot more, but because there's not really the same sort of media coverage for them, so no one really cares. We've got to take every game into account here. Every single football match. If there is a completely unacceptable VAR decision or decision given by officiating that we just like, no, it should not happen, stand with that club. Just an complete total outcry and say, that's unacceptable. Sorry, we're the best league in the world, is what we call it. Well, then we demand, as the fans of the best league in the world, that you give us the best officiating in the world. How about that? Make a united front and stand together and say, we demand the best officiating in the world. Because you lap it up. You lap it up when Premier League fans say, oh, the Premier League is the best league in the world. The Premier League and English FA go, oh, yes, tell me more. Where in actuality, we're probably not. And the officiating is a big contributor to the fact that we are quite possibly not the best league in the world. A big contributor. There's plenty of other reasons. Could have been top of the league, I think, last season. I mean, I don't know. I mean, maybe Arsenal could have. I reckon there would be quite a few changes positionally in the league for a lot of clubs if there weren't for decisions that altered game results. Now, I'm not one to believe with United, the way I view things for my team, the one thing I don't want to do is ever find a reason to say, oh, well, we lost this game because the officiating was crap. I don't want to ever come to that. I want to see for 90 minutes that we've either warranted to win that game, or if we've not done what we should have done or not done enough of what's good in the game to deserve a win. Because I want to be able to talk about a 90-minute performance. I don't want to talk about refs. I don't want to talk about officiating. If there's one offside that a linesman's not spotted, or a linesman that has spotted that is onside, you'd say, well, it's just a human error. That's fine. Maybe technology would advance where it forever just spots an offside regardless of how close it is. Maybe we'll eventually get to that sort of technology, but you're trusting human error to use technology, but they're using technology that's meant to help them to make their errors even more blatant, and is making the integrity of the officiating and our sport that much worse. So Manchester City owners Sheikh Mansour is the Vice President plus Deputy Prime Minister of the UAE. Darren England and Dan Cook for Liverpool versus Tottenham Hotspur, refereed in UAE just 48 hours before. I think I've seen a Twitter thread on that, by the way. I have seen a Twitter thread. Someone talking about the fact that that the referees in our country can go referee and officiate in other countries. What about if we took some of the most highly regarded referees from other countries and allowed them to officiate in this country? You know what? I wouldn't be against that. I wouldn't be against that. Getting some other referees from other countries that do a good job and they're highly regarded, and they come over and they become part of our officiating team. I think that's plausible as some form of an idea. Because God only knows if England's generated any talent in officiating, but the idea that we've got our referees, I mean, I suppose it is somewhat slightly dodgy. Cooper Steed says everything could mean everything here could mean anything. It could absolutely mean anything. But welcome, Cooper Steeds. I don't believe I've seen you at the channel before, so welcome. This needs investigating with immediate effect. It does. It needs to be looked into. I wouldn't mind getting foreign referees to the Premier League. Well, it sort of ties into the argument to the point that I was saying about, if we want to believe the hype that the Premier League is the best league in the world, right, then the Premier League would be doing what it needs to do, and the English FA would be doing what it needs to do to secure that, to factually back it up, right, by putting in the work to actually make it the best league in the world, by going out and getting the best officiating teams in the world. And it be as simple as that. Get the best officiating teams in the world. Contributes a big part to the being the best league in the world. Big up Cooper. Yeah, big ups to Cooper. Cooper Steeds. Anyways, I'm going to wrap things up there, people, before I go too far into all other matters. Let's see if anything is come out late. I'll tell you what's even more damning as well, by the way. It's the fact that Liverpool Football Club themselves, the actual football club, has made a statement on this and saying that it is unacceptable what's going on with the officiating. Liverpool Football Club. So, you know what? Hats off to Liverpool Football Club. They strongly believe that they've been, screwed over to a degree where it's beyond unacceptable. Apology not accepted. That was trending as well. Apology not accepted. Most certainly isn't. But anyways, I'm going to wrap things up there, people. Thank you very, very much for tuning in this evening and joining in, keeping me company, talking about all things to do with the takeover situation and the PR spin that seems to be the case with Neil Custis, talking about the takeover being done in as much as early as 2 weeks' time. I don't buy into that whatsoever. I don't think that's going to be the case at all. Talking about the nonsense about the dressing room leaks and all of that stuff. All the problems, the common stories when things really, really are sort of going to pot for Manchester United, but also talking about the unacceptable state that is VAR, because I haven't done that. I don't believe I have done that on my channel yet. I'll just go on a tirade about VAR and its incompetencies. But thank you very much to everybody that has tuned in. Glad Liverpool basically said apology not accepted, screw PG MOL. Exactly. And Brighton, do you know what? If you're Brighton Football Club, if you're out there, Brighton, go and stick a statement out there and back them up. Stick a statement out there, because every club that has been written an apology letter, stick a statement out there. Go and do it. Stick a statement, because you'll probably get a load of clubs that haven't been issued apology letters to also come out and say, we stand with these clubs. We want to protect the integrity of the sport. Go and do that. You'll never walk alone, my friend. It's not quite my club's motto, that you'll never walk alone, but from a person, um, from a person to person perspective, it's from a viewpoint of a fan who wants to enjoy football and wants to be able to follow a sport and enjoy a sport. We will never walk alone in our endeavours to making sure that football is well protected and stays in the camp for the fans, because it is a sport created by the poor and being stolen by the rich, but also created for the fans. And that is as simple as that. It's created for the fans. If the fans are not happy, the sole customer that you've created this sport for, you got to go get involved. You got to go make changes. Great stream, Fuzzy. Great to see you, Mama Flossie. I was about to say great stream, Mama Flossie, but I'm sure. Well, I think Ghost Stories as well with you on Yeti's channel is probably going to be coming out quite soon. So I'll be sure to hop along and tune into that stream when that does come around. I'm looking forward to it. I'm sure we've got plenty of good stories to tell. Looking forward to it. But thank you very much for tuning in, Mama Flossie. You too, Amaroli. Thank you very much for tuning in. Really appreciate the points you've given. It's definitely been very interesting to talk about these sort of things, and to speak with rival, supporters of rival clubs. We talk about rival fans. We're all fans. We just support rival clubs. Tottenham did all right, to be honest. They were okay at best, I would say. Okay at best, because you go down to a 9-man team, you play against a 9-man team, you expect to stomp them. You'd expect to stomp your opposition, regardless of whoever it is. But Tottenham won because of an own goal. Literally won because of an own goal. It was probably going to be a draw otherwise. Great stream. Thank you very much, Raja. Always good to see you in the chat. Thank you very much for tuning in. It is just not sure when. I think it will be some point in the near future, Mama Flossie. I think it'll be up to Yeti to decide the time and place for that. But anyways, thank you very much, everybody, for tuning in. Big ups to everybody. Thank you for smashing the likes up to 6. If we can get up to 10 likes on the playback, then that would be absolutely fantastic. It would be lovely stuff. And we will be seeing you on the next one. Probably some point tomorrow, you'll be seeing me. Enjoy the rest of your Sundays. I know it's a couple of hours left before the new week starts, but all look forward to a brand new week. All of you, goodbye, take care, and God bless to everyone. All the best. Take care.